What's up, everybody? Brett here, back today casting some more Total Warhammer 2 replays. This time it's going to be me versus Deathstalker. Guy kind enough to say, go ahead, man, put it up on your channel. It was a fun game, and honestly, his build is something that I was worried about. So you'll notice right off the bat, I'm playing as VC. What do you got to know? Well, VC is in Vampire Coast, not necessarily Vampire Counts. But one of the things you got to know when you're playing as Vampire Coast is that mobility, for the most part, depending on your build, is not the name of the game. And it's definitely not the name of the game in the meta. I do like to play a very mobile Vampire Coast whenever I get the opportunity. But what I wanted to do today was represent some units that people never take. Who's the first one? Zombie pirate gunnery mobs with handguns. Why don't people take them? Mostly because they suck. But if you can sit these guys on a large target, especially like a singled out Malekith here up on his dragon, they will do serious damage. They just have to be uninterrupted. And when your army is this wide, you can afford to sacrifice certain elements of your army in order to preserve others. You'll notice right off the bat here, I've got a mortar that's starting to shoot. Unfortunately, though, my opponent took no infantry. So my mortar is going to be completely ineffective, and there's going to be a point in the game where I just kind of sacrifice it. I've got my cannon here, my carronades, taking advantage of the new rules, allowing me to deploy at the edge of a forest for a little bit of cover, just in case my opponent had some bolt throwers. We'd have a little bit of coverage that we could shoot out safely from. We're going to be targeting Malekith, because at this point, I can't see half the units on the map. I can't see all of these Doomfire Warlocks here. I couldn't see, I think, maybe one of these Scourge Runner Chariots at the beginning, and then I couldn't see some of these Dark Riders here that were looking to flank me. So I instantly, as soon as I realized, okay, oh my god, it's going to be a cav surround, I start pulling stuff in. I do start targeting, I do start assessing, but the main thing is I start to rotate my formation. So I've got three groups of Fellbats here up in the sky. They're great at countercharging against cav. They're great at attacking things from behind and allowing your cheap infantry to do work while they attack from the back, or just mucking up a flying lord like Malekith. Just make him fight something cheap like Fellbats all day long. I've got a front line, just cheap zombie pirate deckhand mobs. I've got deckhand mobs with pole arms protecting my flanks, and I also have my lord choice here, Count Noctilus on foot. I think he's a good choice. I anticipated Scourge Runner Chariots, and I wasn't disappointed. And I anticipated, you know, at least a lord on some sort of larger vehicle or dragon. So, and that's exactly what I got. And his anti-large armor piercing going to be great at that. He's pretty cheap on foot compared to his Necrofex Colossi form. However, Count Noctilus is not a cheap lord, and his abilities are too good not to take. I took the Drowned Dead summon as well as the Moon Dial, which gives me even more zombie pirate summons. I also took the Heal, the Invocation of Nehek, as well as a Pit of Shades, and I get a pretty sick Pit of Shades here that I hope we get on camera. I've got the Morgul Haunter. Not much love for this guy, you'll notice, but in the right circumstance, his slowing aura, his chilling aura is awesome. And if you support him, give him a chance to let his hunger constantly regen him, give him a little bit of Invocations of Nehek, he's quite the scary duelist. And just in and amongst blobs, he'll do some pretty big work. And I don't mind putting him in the front line because he does have stalk, so enemies won't be able to see them anyway. And of course I have some zombie pirates with handguns, but I also have some who are the standard gunnery mobs with the shorter range pistols. So very diverse in terms of my zombie choices. But then I also have my linebackers here, the animated Hulks. These sea encrusted ogre zombies, and they suck. They suck as well. I can admit it, but I love them. I have a soft spot in my heart for them. I think they're really cool models. And what they're really good at, though, is exactly what I'm going to use them as in this particular army. You'll see I'm taking up a position in the trees, which already favors infantry over cav. I am lining up kind of a layered defense here to protect my artillery. And I've got Count Noctilus rotating. I'm anticipating a charge here from the Dark Riders, just as I'm anticipating a frontline charge into my zombie pirate gunnery mob, who I let take the center here. That way their line of sight wouldn't be obstructed. But this map is unfortunately not really favored to me either. So many line of sight obstructions that I took this hill. And you'll see I'm going to be falling back in order to make lines of sight. If you can't take the top of a hill, the best thing to do is take the bottom, and then to put your defenses at the very base of the hill. That way you can shoot over the top of your guys at the top of the hill. And that's a strategy I'm going to try to employ here, but there's just so much cav coming after me. And at this point, I don't think I've seen the Khanate Assassins either. So I've got my my zombie pirate guys. They're going to be shooting at the Scourge Runner Chariots, and now all of a sudden my opponent goes, oh no, I don't know if he does go oh no, but he should, because the Morgul Haunter is right here. And if I can get him on these Scourge Runner chariots, he is going to do great work. So I'm letting my opponent come in before I make my move with my Fellbats. I want his charge to just tie him up. I want him to get in. I want him to get tied up. That way I can get the rear charges off with my Fellbats. So, once again, like I said, the mortar's not going to be super relevant. Trees, weird lines of sight, no infantry. Not going to be great here. And yeah, the Scourge Runner chariots engage, but they're going to get that chilling aura. And they're going to get messed up. Doomfire Warlocks here are going to be coming down from the mountains. And they're going to do great damage, especially on the charge. Poison damage, magic damage. Very effective versus the zombies. And definitely the number one thing that I was the most afraid of. Malekith up here still taking some shots. Some Dark Riders managed to skirt up and around. They're going to get onto my mortars. Good micro for my opponent. However, almost completely the least relevant target. Soul Stealer here trying to heal up Malekith. Nice play. But to counter that, I mean, I'm turning all of my ranged stuff here. Ooh, nice gaze there. But I've shut down these Scourge Runner chariots. My Morgul Haunter is going unchallenged. The animated Hulks are holding back long enough for me to try and just pull out my hand cannon zombies. So much casting going off here in the beginning. These Dark Riders, and of course it's really hard to see everything. I crushed the Dark Riders on the advance. So that's an entire flank that I now have secure. I allocated a lot of resources to that fight, but I overwhelmed them so quickly and I was able to route them off the battlefield so easily with my Fellbats that it's going to allow me to pull all these other resources back here. So now my opponent is missing, you know, almost half their numbers now. Whereas I, you know, maybe lost a couple zombies and some animated Hulks, but I didn't lose much else. And my opponent, unfortunately, not cycle charging with these Doomfire Warlocks, and they are just caught in a fight with my Morgul Haunter, who is happy as can be just to sit there all day long and fight them if that's what they want. And they're going to be trying to cycle now. I've got Invocations of the Heck. I've had summons go off. You'll see some of the remnants of my summons from the moon dial, from my actual summons itself. And I'm going to be doing what I can to keep most of my units healthy. It's kind of hard to follow all of the action. But Count Noctilus has been casting his butt off this battle. The two Khanate Assassins here are choosing to run into melee. They are not bad in melee. 88 melee attack. That's insane. I forgot it was that high. With poison, if they get onto my Morgul Haunter, they'll take it out because it has very low, HP, very low armor, and that's exactly the type of thing they want to be fighting. But I'm not going to leave him unsupported. The Morgul Haunter will not stand alone. Malekith makes a bold move here. Comes in hot. Soul Blight going off, trying to, weaken my Lord, but I've got an Invocation of the Heck as well, countering all the damage that Malekith is doing, and my anti-large specialty is coming in pretty handy right now, as well as the point-blank Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob shots. These guys are absolutely tearing him up right now. And my cannon's back online. It was cheap. It was knocked offline for a minute, but I was able to rally and get that back on. I've got my other units that chased coming back to the fight. Fellbats in the background, you'll see, are doing work. And Malekith is getting dumped on. He's probably trying to get out, but I'm getting him surrounded slowly but surely. And here we go. He's got his spells going off. It's doing big damage. But then I do the coup de grace here with the Pit of Shades right in the heart of all these Doomfire Warlocks. And that's just going to be GG. It was a wild game, man. So I was anticipating, as soon as I picked Vampire Coast and I saw my opponent switch to Dark Elves, I anticipated a very mobile build. I anticipated, honestly, a lot of Scourge Runner chariots. I thought there would be some infantry, though. I think my build, as well as we did against this, I think my build would have fared even better on a more open map against a little bit more infantry. The mortars would have had a chance to do work. My layered defense would have been more relevant instead of having to blob up. But you'll see several of my units just got munched. But that's okay, man. 2 kills, but look at the damage value. They almost paid for themselves. Super cheap. And they got wiped off the face of the earth. What else do we have? Let's just check out the damage values here. 622 on that unit. Yeah, I mean, no surprise here. The actual the riflemen of the Vampire Coast tend to do quite a bit of work. They way more than pay for themselves. In retrospect, I might even, like I said, I was trying to meme a little bit. But if I was going for a real build, I would probably cut these two and just have the handguns in. The Fellbats, I love the Fellbats. There's so much utility. And you can see here I finished the game with all 3 of them perfectly intact. Let's say Malekith had managed to jump on Count Noctilus, double like Doombolt, nuke him like he did in the end, attack him, get a couple good attacks off with Seraphon, and just dumpster Count Noctilus with a Soul Blight. Like, almost like he tried to do. Let's say that it happened. I still had 3 Fellbats. And believe it or not, 3 Fellbats I think can take down a Star Dragon. I know I've done testing with that in the past. So I still had a lot of utility left. Even my animated Hulks, man. They did a good job just body blocking, which is what they were supposed to do, as well as the Carronade. I'm not surprised, but I am a little surprised at the amount of overall effectiveness of some of these units that people just hate taking in the Vampire Coast roster. Now, my opponent's build, I don't know what the meta is exactly right now for the Dark Elves versus the Vampire Coast. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's something similar to this. Doomfire Warlocks, great choices there. The damage they dealt is insane. Whereas the damage of these Dark Riders, I put them in a trash can pretty quickly. Malekith, no surprise, he's so expensive. If he doesn't even come close to paying for himself, that's going to be a bad time. But good play from Deathstalker. I think his opening gambit was solid. Charge up the front with the Scourge Runner Chariots, flank with the Dark Riders, and then kind of hold the Doomfire Warlocks in reserve until the fight goes underway. Use your K-Knight Assassins to assassinate a squishy hero. Use Malekith's overwhelming magic ability right off the start. Try and get as many advantages as fast as you can. However, I think I just dealt with the Dark Riders a little too swiftly. I think the Scourge Runner Chariots were thrown away with, just not enough value. You could definitely keep them... Their ranged attack is so powerful that using them almost like mobile artillery is correct most of the time. But once I was able to tie them down, it was pretty much GG for them. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Deathstalker for a good game and being a good sport. And yeah, hope you look forward to more. Guys, my name is Brett. Channel's Goodtalk Gaming. And as always, y'all, I will see you in the next one. We have a Discord channel. The link will be in the description down below. Check that out if you'd like. A lot of people get together sometimes and play games. I'm not on there as often as I would like to be. College, kids, and just real life stuff mostly. But it's a good place to meet people to play Warhammer. It's a good place to meet people to play really any strategy game. So if you like, it's open. Goodtalk Gaming. Description down below. Alright guys, take care.